Good morning. My name is Paige Levine, and today I want to talk about some very important people. No, not my friends and family, but my teachers. Some of the most underappreciated influencers of young student lives. Everyone has a couple of their favorites, but the ones I want to talk about today are those that inspire. I don't know how many of you know this, but when I grow up, I want to be a teacher. It may not seem like the most glamorous of jobs, but to me it is. Why? Because one of my own teachers made me want to be a teacher. And from then on, I understood what it meant when everyone said that teachers had the ability to change lives. I want to tell everyone about the very first memory I have of one of the most influential teachers of Oakridge. I was in the 8th grade, and it was during finals, so my older brother wanted to stay in the high school to study with some friends in the teacher's classroom. Of course, I wasn't looking forward to this because the high school was full of scary, tall people. So I walked into the classroom, very much like this, and I sat in a corner and studied. I suppose one of my brother's friends had ordered pizza, but I was too afraid to take any. In fact, I was too afraid to do anything until Mrs. Bonner came over and told me to make myself at home. We talked for a while before I went back to studying, waiting for my brother. I'm sure she doesn't remember any of this, but that one connection with a high school teacher is something I remembered going into freshman year, and I truly believe it made a difference. When school started the following fall, I had Mrs. Bonner as a teacher. Some of you might remember something very similar to that terrified just about all of us coming from middle school. But no matter how hard that world history class got, I enjoyed it. Then, the following year, I had her again for AP European History. Having my first AP class as a sophomore was scary, but I never doubted that she would get us through it. So it was during this class that I realized I think I wanted to become a teacher. I remember distinctly riding home from school with my mom, and I would not shut up about the French Revolution. I just kept talking about it. I was so excited about it, which is awful. But so it was during this moment when I was so fascinated and excited about something that happened long ago, that I realized that if I do become a teacher, I want to do that. Mrs. Bonner's passion and interest in something provoked that same passion and interest in me. And this impact that a teacher has on the student's view of the subject is why it's so important for students to have influential teachers. Another difficult but wildly helpful trait for teachers to have is the ability to connect with their students. As compelling as a teacher is who loves their subject, a teacher that makes their students want to work hard and love that subject is just as compelling. So I have actually been mistaken for the teacher I'm about to talk about next on a multitude of occasions. Hello, I'm not Mrs. Tate. However, I do not mind being called the smaller, fiery ball of hate. Of course, on the first day of honors chemistry, I was a little petrified because she thought she could poke some fun at me because she had had my older brother. But sophomore me did not understand that. But in hindsight, I'm grateful it happened because it was the start of a great relationship. So anyone that knows me knows I don't do science. I don't do math. It's not that I'm awful at them, I just don't like doing them. I would take being locked in a room full of books any day of the week. But nonetheless, at the end of the year, my friend Alyssa and I were named most dedicated for the class. Alyssa was actually good at chemistry, but I held my own with our sticker wars. So the question becomes, why did I work so hard in this class that I thought I would have so little passion for? Well, the answer is the teacher. I wanted to do well for Mrs. Tate. We made lots of connections over the school year, and I wanted to do well. This desire to do well, specifically for a teacher, is explained as Pat Bassett once said, teaching is relational, not transactional. It's possible to learn from someone giving a PowerPoint and talking to you from a stage, as I'm doing right now. But this knowledge transaction isn't what teaching is about. It's about this relationship between teacher and student. This relationship has the ability to prompt a deeper appreciation, a heightened interest, or in my case, in honors chem, at least the desire to do somewhat well. So this all sounds nice, but it wasn't until I worked at the ECC this past summer, the Early Childhood Center, that I really realized how teachers affect students of all ages. I worked in the 4-year-old cabin, and it was here I realized just how influential teachers are. They came to us to ask to play with them. They came to us to explain why something was working a certain way. And most of all, when they were upset, they came to us and told us. This is a magnified reaction when compared to how high schoolers view their teachers, but the lasting impression is the same. So camp ended about the middle of July, and I didn't see any of the kids until August at the back-to-school picnic, actually. I was walking around looking for people to say hello to, and I ended up by the kids' bouncy houses. So I was about to head back to the table with some of my friends when I hear a little boy's voice scream, "Miss Paige!" And two of my little boys and him came up and they all hugged me and talked over each other because they were, of course, boys from my cabin. So as I was talking to the parents, two of the boys went on their merry way to go play in the bouncy houses. But one of them, who had been quiet and shy all summer long, came up to me and very politely asked me if I would play with him. The point I'm trying to make is a simple one. Teachers do so much more than they often receive credit for. Yes, they put homework and tests on the worst possible days. But as Brad Henry, a famous supporter of increasing educational standards, said, "A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. It's so much more than facts and equations, and teachers are the channels for which students to become so much more than they would have ever dreamt of being. This is why teachers are so important. This is why I want to become a teacher, so I can instill that same love of learning that was instilled in me during those days of AP, European history." Thank you.